Hey everyone, it's Lane, and I am actually going to make this update, and I will post it because I keep recording these and not posting them because I get lazy and I get interrupted and I hate editing videos. So here it is. I am one year and about 3 months on testosterone. However, I was off of tea for about 6 months. It wasn't something that I wanted to do. It got confusing transferring files over to where I go to school now, getting someone who would do my injections since I can't do them myself. I actually managed to do it once in that time period, which I wasn't on tea, but I don't know how much of it I actually drew up and got in me. I've been back on tea for I think 3 shots now, and I try to get them every other week. I actually got another shot of Lupron, which is a hormone blocker to block the estrogen because I was getting a lot of effects from not being on tea, specifically getting my period, which I really don't want. When I first went on tea, I was like, this is the last time I'm ever going to have it, and I didn't have it for a year but now I did. I missed it, so I think I'm good now. I'm going to try to talk about a summary of the changes on testosterone, which is very hard to summarize because there are just so many changes, so I'm going to try to break it down into different categories. I was already very hairy to start with, specifically my arms and legs, but I have gotten hairier. It's very hard to see in the light, but yeah, I've got a ton of hair there, and my legs are super hairy. I even have a ton of under thigh hair there. I don't really have anything on my torso or even back hair. I have a tiny little treasure trail that's been increasing and getting darker as the months go by, but I don't really have chest hair, no back hair, which I don't mind. I don't want back hair. I love body hair on me, and I love my body hair, but I don't want that. It spreads out more on my body now, more of it covers my ankles and my feet. As far as facial hair goes, I can grow visible facial hair here down to about here, here down to about here, here, some on my Adam's apple area, and up here where it's the most substantial. If I don't shave for like 3 days, it is visible, but it's still very thin and it's very patchy and stops growing at a certain length. It's not thick enough to grow in a stash right now, and it's very patchy in this area, but the sideburns are starting to get their game up, so who knows, maybe something with that will happen soon. Immediately going on testosterone, I don't know how much of it was mind over matter, but immediately I felt a lot stronger. I was able to lift a lot more at the gym, and again, that might just be self-confidence or, my mind messing with me or something like that. I know for a fact that I am stronger now than I was pre-T, and I've been severely slacking off not going to the gym. I actually got back into the groove about 2 weeks ago. I'm probably not as big now as I was a few months ago, but I've got some forearm muscles going on. You can see that. Biceps. Even my leg muscles have really increased. I also have abdominals, which I will show. Ooh, getting sexy. Especially because I'm freaking naked. But yeah, so they're kind of there. They're just kind of like the default abs that guys who are really skinny get. I have definitely gained weight on testosterone, and that's a really good thing because pre-T I was very underweight, and I actually had it wasn't, I don't know, I just had a problem with eating, and testosterone really saved me, mostly because it's not that you get necessarily hungrier when you're on testosterone, it's that when you're hungry, you freaking need to eat. I eat more now than I ever did. I have a much bigger appetite. I've even noticed it from being off of tea for 6 months and going back on it. When I first went on tea, I gained a lot of weight, just because that happens and there's fluid buildup, and that's when your face gets super puffy, and that sucked. But now it's actually getting a little bit puffy again because I'm like going back on it after not being on it for so long. After I put on that initial water weight or whatever it was, it's gone back down, and I do weigh more now, but there was body fat redistribution. Especially my butt is much smaller. My waistline, I used to wear a size 32 pants, which sounds ridiculous to me now because now I can fit into like a 27, 26, and I can shop in the boys department even with skinny jeans, which is what I do because you save a lot of money. My thighs, I lost a lot of weight there. Body fat redistribution is supposed to put the body fat toward your abdomen, when you're on testosterone, but I haven't really noticed that, or if I have, my muscles just developed more there, so it's not bad. I'm heavier now, but I'm slimmer. It's no surprise that testosterone facilitates incredible sexual desires. It's most noticeable when you're first on it, and if you're off of it for a while when you go back on it. My sex drive is much higher now than it ever was, and not just because of age, I don't think. It was actually pretty low for a while because of my medications, specifically my antidepressants. But lately, ever since getting the hormone blocker shot and going back on T, it's shot back up, and it's a little bit out of control. Clit growth has really increased. Even now, I've noticed since going back on hormones, it started growing immediately, and it's very substantial now. Not only did it get longer, but it's much thicker. It can be kind of a nuisance at times. I kind of like it being a nuisance because it's like fun being a dude and being like, oh shit, got a random boner, which does happen. And when it would first start to happen, when I would get hard randomly, it wasn't a big deal because like I knew it, but it wasn't bothering me, and it's not like anyone else can tell. But now, because it's so much bigger, when it happens, it like rubs against my underwear, and it's not that pleasant. But I'm not complaining because I'm a lot happier with how I am down there now. I've really started to become comfortable with my body. Uh, the acne. Immediately got it all over my face, upper body, like when guys go on roids. It has its moments, it fluctuates. There will be months where it's a lot better, my face is a lot more clear. There are other months where it's really bad. It always gets bad right after a shot, and it's usually its best right when I'm due for a shot. So it's definitely the hormones. I really hate it. Not only do I hate acne, I like have a thing with oils. I mean, no one likes that, especially on their skin. Don't touch greasy, oily things. Freaks me out. Like butter freaks me out. I have friends who have chased me around their houses with sticks of butter because I'm that weird about it. So acne really bothered me. I've gone to several different dermatologists. I'm on antibiotics. I have a body wash for like my back and my upper body. I have a face wash for the facial acne. I have several creams. It's just, it is what it is. As much as I try to control it, it doesn't go away. I just keep it under control. I'm hoping that it'll simmer down with time. I'm still pretty much going through puberty, and that's normal. Most guys have acne all through high school. But it sucks because the first time I went through puberty as a girl, I didn't really have a big problem with acne, so it really was the testosterone that did it. Doesn't help when you're binding because then you have all this sweat that builds up, especially if you're working out in your binder, which I do. I know I shouldn't, but I actually started to do this like face mask, which I learned about from another guy on YouTube, trans guy, and it's honey, nutmeg, and cinnamon, and it's like really good for stripping your face of oils and kind of cleaning the pores, and it doesn't really make your acne go away, but it takes away a lot of the redness. My face has filled out a lot. I had a really freaking skinny little head before. I look back at my old videos very rarely, but when I do it, I'll just see the thumbnails. My head's definitely got bigger. It's filled out here. I have much more of a jawline and a chin now. It's still very weak. I've always had a very weak jawline, and I hate it, but it's okay. I think that my nose has gotten a little bit bigger. I have an Adam's apple. It's pretty big, but it's very pointy right here. It's like really pointy. And my hairline has started to recede a little bit. It's not that bad though. I'm really afraid of going bald, but you know. When I started T, I was interested to see if there was any possibility that I could get taller because I'm 5 feet. The doctor looked at my growth charts and he said, because he's been doing this for a long time, if my bone plates have not secured, he can manipulate the hormones in a way to help me get taller. And what he said was that they were basically secured. But I think I have maybe gotten like a quarter of an inch taller. So it's not a big difference, but it's something, and I'll take whatever I can get, especially at this height. My hands have gotten much bigger, and my feet have gotten slightly bigger, like a half size bigger. It's not a big difference, especially in men's shoes, because they all vary so much. My overall body shape now is much more masculine. Shoulders are broader, especially because I try to work out my triceps and my biceps and stuff like that. My waist is a lot more narrow, so I'm not going to stand up completely, but if you see, it's pretty broad up here, and then the shirt's a little baggy, all of them are, and then like pretty tight there. I don't think that my chest got smaller. but it looks different now just because there's more muscle mass. If I don't have estrogen, there's not anything facilitating fat tissue to build up here. It's slightly smaller, but really it looks different. It's kind of weird. I can't wait to get surgery, but I'm not that big at all. I don't always bind. I've gone out in public not binding, and no one knows. I'll walk around my hallway like not binding and wearing boxers, and I never pack, and people don't notice, so that's cool. This is a no-brainer, but obviously my voice has changed a lot, and it is still changing, especially since going back on tea, it's starting to crack again. I really did feel like there was a difference 4 days on tea. I don't know if there was. If there was, it was probably very slight, but I did feel the change in my voice immediately. By 2 months, my voice was already much deeper, and people were noticing it. It's like when you hear recordings of, your friends are messing around making a video, and you're just in the background being a doof, like I always am. Like, hear it played back, and I'm like, is that really my voice? Like, that's so deep, but who is that man in the background? But it's me. I'm that dude. Um, it's really awesome. I'm really happy with my voice. I was afraid that it wasn't deep enough or whatever, but it's still getting deeper. I'm pretty happy with how it is now. I would like for it to get deeper, but honestly, for being a 5 foot tall guy, it's deeper than most biological males I've ever seen who are my height and even a little bit taller. This is something that's very neglected, I think, by a lot of the trans community, especially on YouTube, which I totally understand. It's very exciting to go through all of the physical changes, and that's really what you focus on, especially since it's so tangible. But there are a lot of changes mentally, and I don't know how much of them is because, your comfort levels change and your self-confidence levels change once you feel better about your physical self, and how much of it is actually the hormones. As far as what I think actually are the hormones, is it's much harder to express emotions. Not only is it much more difficult to cry, but it's harder to identify what you're feeling, which is really weird to me. I've been in therapy for a long time because I'm a nut job, and I would have a lot of bad feelings all the time. I still do, not as much. But, I was always able to recognize what I was feeling. I would say, I'm stressed out right now, or, oh, right now I'm really angry, or I'm really sad. And usually, even then, I could identify what the trigger or the stressor was. Now, it's like I'll feel something, and I know if it's a negative or a positive emotion, but I don't really know what it is. I can't tell if it's sadness or anger, stress, anxiety. I'm a lot less expressive now than I was before emotionally. Not all dudes are like this, of course. This is just what I've experienced. My mood has just improved so much since being on testosterone. My self-confidence levels, just a lot more sure of myself. Moving here, living on my own in the big city wasn't hard at all. I've really meshed into it pretty well, pretty seamlessly, and things have been going pretty well. When I was off of hormones for a while, another reason why I got the hormone blocker shot is because I felt like my estrogen levels were just really high, and I was feeling like shit. Not just was I having pains in uterus, ovarian areas, getting my period. I also just was really depressed. And as soon as I got the shot of Lupron, it was crazy. It was like the next day I immediately felt better. I was not nearly as wigged out about everything. And getting the T shot after blocking the estrogen felt even better. I have a lot more energy. I'm a lot more positive, a lot more willing to go out and do things, a lot more active. I don't sit around as much as I used to, although I still sit around a freaking lot. But yeah. Overall, I would say that I'm very pleased with my transition thus far. Transition, it's not even just physical, it's also been social and emotional and mental up until this point, and I don't know when the transition process ever ends, when does it even start? There's still a lot of questions about that, and I don't think that you're going to find any answers, but right now I'm really happy with the decisions that I've made and the medical choices that I've had presented to me and that I've been able to follow through with. I don't regret going on hormones at all. I don't regret transitioning. Obviously, it made my life a lot more difficult, but now I'm happier than I ever was, and I know that I am who I am now in a way that I was never able to be before, and I don't think I would have been able to be had I not transitioned. I went out there and I did what I needed to do, and I found the resources, and I'm very happy with it, much happier than I was years ago. I wish that I could have known I would be this content and this happy and able to transition when I was in middle school. I think it would have helped a lot, but things happen for a reason, and I don't regret it.